Welcome everyone. We'll just give another minute for people who are coming in and then we'll get started. I hope everybody's been enjoying the session so far. Yeah, I agree, Jane. It's been really wonderful. I think we've got numbers, people coming in still. Are you happy for me to get started? Excellent. And I'll keep admitting people. So we might as well get started. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our workshop, the last one in today's CS EdX 2025 session. It's wonderful to have you all here and thank you for joining us. Today's workshop, this workshop is titled Same but Different, Principles of Assessment Design and AI. And we are excited to explore this topic with you. We are joined by our fantastic presenters, Nicole Mitchell and Liz Stevens, who will be sharing insight and strategies and examples from their practice. And as the session progresses, feel free to post your questions in the Q&A panel that has been activated. You also are welcome to post your comments in the chat. We'll keep track of that and address those questions by the end of the session, if not during the session. So with that, I'll hand over to our presenters, Nicole and Liz. Over to you.
Great, thanks very much, Amita, and thanks everybody for coming along today. It's great to see everybody. My name is Liz, for those people that I haven't met before, and I'm an educational designer with DLT, and so is Nicole. Nicole is also Nicole Mitchell, educational designer with DLT as well. And just to kick off, we might have a very short acknowledgement of country, being aware that this has been done a number of times today already. We acknowledge that we're coming to you from the unceded lands of the Biripi peoples in this virtual space. We also acknowledge that the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you are joining from today. And please feel free to share the nation that you're joining from in the chat if you would like to. Thank you. So welcome everybody again. As Amita said, today we're looking at the principles of assessment design and how they relate to, how we can make them relate to assessment and use AI to help us. So what we're going to be exploring today is the current assessment landscape, what makes a good assessment. Charles Sturt has 11 assessment design principles, so we'll be taking a quick look at those. We'll also be looking at how we can use Gen AI to review the alignment of assessment tasks with the assessment design principles. And we'll be talking a bit also about the contextualization of results and assessment tasks, given that cohorts are different, disciplines are different, the needs of assessment tasks are different in general. Yeah, so look, just quickly in the chat, would you mind just popping in? We just want to get an idea of sort of whether people have been already using AI to help them with design assessment tasks. So if you can just pop in the chat how much experience you've had to date using AI to help design a assessment task, or maybe you've used AI for other things in your practice. It just will help us gauge how much experience people have had. So yeah, so again, welcome, and I'll just hand over to Nicole to carry on.
Thank you, Liz. So needless to say, there's a lot going on in the assessment landscape. Seems to be every week, nearly every day, every hour, we've got a new thing going on. And I thought, yep, this image for me captures it pretty well. A lot going on, a lot changing. It's kind of exciting, but it's also a little bit scary perhaps. And reading a lot of the stuff that's been coming out, being published, going to different sorts of PD sessions from all different sources, I started to think about, there's a lot of terminology we use, and I thought, if I was, new to higher ed and this whole assessment thing, I was trying to map it out, and this might be something that you might even want to do yourself, just trying to work out all the different terminologies: assessment for learning, assessment of learning, the different lanes, formative, summative, asynchronous, synchronous, non-supervised, supervised. So I'm going, okay, yep, there's a lot going on. The assessment design principles all kind of feature in and need to be considered in all of these things. Then you add the layer in about student use of AI in the assessment tasks. How much are they allowed to use? Are they allowed to use it? What for? And then we've got the other one coming in, the programmatic course level assessment, more pathways and so on. And then my brain's feeling a bit like this. I don't know if people can relate, but I was going, yep, it's a little bit buzzy and there's a lot going on. And yeah, so this is what, Liz and I have been talking about this, and we really just need to go back to some basics, to the good, solid foundation. Let's get that stuck into the ground. So I see we have a lot of people in the room today, range of experience, academic and professional staff. So very interested to find out from you, what are 2 characteristics, in your opinion, of a good assessment task? So if you can put that in the Menti, that would be great. Or I've noticed someone's already been very quick putting in the chat. Thanks, Liz, for putting the link in the chat. And let's see what comes up. Can you see the chat? I just want to double check it's all working okay. Give me a thumbs up, Liz. Yep. People are using it. Yeah. Okay, we do have a hand up. We have a question. Oh, a thumbs. Okay, thank you. Okay, it's been a while since I've driven. I should have L plates on here, but let's see.
Thanks everybody for popping in the chat.
Yeah.
Also, the level of experience you've had with using AI to either help design or perhaps for other things as well. It's that's really good to know, to get our heads around that as well. So thank you.
Look, we have some very looks like we have very experienced people in the room, Liz.
Of course, a good assessment is a very subjective term.
Yeah.
We acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Controversy.
That's why we put it in inverted commas, just a little disclaimer. Thanks for
what is good. Yeah.
Yeah, what is good. That's great. Step-by-step detail, interesting, reliable, valid.
Fun and challenging.
Oh,
Best of both worlds.
that's it. Authentic, relevant, and valid.
Interesting to see rubrics mentioned there as well.
Oh, we love a rubric.
That's a whole nother presentation on how to use AI.
I think so. Okay, I think it's sort of stopped moving now, but we can definitely see that authentic, engaging, relevant. I think the word engaging is really interesting, because I think so often we feel like, I know in my own practice as also a sessional lecturer in the past, is that students don't like assessments in generally. They often don't like it. But what if we can make these really engagement assessment tasks they actually also get to enjoy and have a bit of fun with? I think that's a really high bar. Don't think that's in the principles, Liz, but I'm now going to go back to you. And
thank you, Nicole. That's great to see. Yeah, everybody's general interpretation of, okay, well, what's good? What makes an assessment a good assessment? So what we're looking at today is how assessment aligns with assessment design principles. So at Charles Sturt we have 11 assessment design principles. So overall they help ensure quality assessment approaches and quality assessment tasks. And of course, quality is one of those subjective words as well. It can largely mean everything that was just in the word cloud on the previous slide. The design principles also help create connections between assessments, subjects and courses, And as we move more into the models of engagement and supervised assessment and program level assessment or course level assessment, there'll be a lot more talk about those connections between assessment subjects and courses. So it's good to sort of have the assessment design principles in our minds and have a little refresher now before we really launch into that as well. And also the assessment design principles have been crafted so that they align with the higher education standards framework and child state policy. So they perform the principles themselves perform a lot of roles actually. Just in case you've never heard of the Child State 11 assessment design principles before, they are in the DLT website. You'll find them in the DLT website. They're in a couple of different places. I'll just put a link in the chat if you did want to. We're going to be providing you with a copy of them anyway, but just popping in the chat the link to it if you'd like to have a look yourself in the DLT website. And on that particular page, scroll right down the bottom and you'll find them there. So if you happen to download the PDF, so it's basically it's available either just as text on the screen itself, and on that version, on the web page version, you'll see where it's been aligned with the Higher Education Standards Framework. When you download the PDF, it looks something like this. So basically, the principles cover facilitating learning success, ensuring that an assessment is purposeful, rigorous and challenging, which is a little bit along those lines of fun and challenging. It's got to be aligned to outcomes. It's got to be valid. It's got to be reliable. Again, these are a lot of the things that we saw come up in the word cloud. It has to be authentic and aligned to professional practice, basically. Also needs to ensure academic integrity, and this is, again, a whole nother workshop, is student use of AI. And making, we as academic staff and yourselves need to ensure that if students are using AI, then they're still adhering to academic integrity policies at the university, of course, which we're hearing a lot about. We need to make sure assessment is informed by quality assurance. It's clear and it's explicit, it's inclusive, it's equitable, it's manageable and sequenced, so there's a logical flow to the assessment, and it's designed to elicit constructive feedback. So in that right-hand column, you'll see there's those descriptors. There's quite a lot of information there. We won't go through all that. You can read through that in your own time. But when we go to our activity, then, we will be considering, no, we won't be considering, we're asking AI to consider those descriptors as well as the principles themselves. So, Nicole, you've been doing some playing, I believe.
Yes, I have been doing some playing, and I have to admit I was also involved and engrossed with, what was it, seductive ease that Jonathan Boylan mentioned in the keynote this morning. This morning, yes. I'll show you about that in a second. But today I just wanted to point out that I and also you will probably be using Copilot, because that means that our enterprise data protection is actually on. If, however, you wish to use different platforms of Gen AI, just a reminder, check that secure framework that's been talked about in the university, especially by Mark Bassett and those people. So yeah, so there we go. So I'll just show you what I did, and just to give you a bit of an idea. Again, everyone prompts a little bit differently. There's different ways to do it. There's sometimes I found out things doing this, preparing for this workshop today that I didn't know myself. So it's always a steep learning curve. So, but basically, like I said, seductive ease, I thought I'm not going to copy and paste an assessment task. I'm going to chuck a whole subject outline in. Now, I did teach this subject and I wrote this subject outline back in 2020 for Marketing 110, Marketing Fundamentals. So that's the one I've used. So I found that, I just used Brightspace. Dug that out. And when I opened it, it already had the Ask Copilot pop up. However, of course, if you have been using Copilot before, the other option is just to use that copy and paste. You can either copy and paste the whole the text. There is a text limitation, character limit on that, so you can use that, or you can use the plus and add files that way, which is pretty quick and easy as well. So I did use that prompt. So I used that Ask Copilot thing that jumped out at me, and I got this. Basically, my screen ended up looking like this. What you'll see on the right, it gave a summary of those assessment design principles that I asked it for to check against. It also gave me a summary of the current assessments that are in the subject outline. Didn't ask for that, but it gave it to me. It's very generous. And again, I went, oh, wow, look, it's given me a summary. I don't have to read through that whole document again. Fabulous. And again, I just assumed it was right. But then I had a closer look, and actually, there's 11 principles there. And I thought, yeah, great. But then, hang on, they're actually not quite the same. So that's, bit of a red flag there. Then it gave me the strengths and the gaps and risks. That was actually, I like a good list. Anyone else here like good lists? Maybe. Yep. Okay. I see a few head nods. Excellent. Yep. I love a good list. So this was very nice, and icons as well. So yeah. So some good feedback there. I found this one interesting about the word limit. We have the student workload calculator thing about how many hours they should be doing assessment tasks and so on. Don't think it kind of knows about that, but maybe it does. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. I thought the transparency and weighting, that large jump from 5% to 20%, also interesting. Yeah, some pretty good points there. Again, I won't go through all of this. We will be sharing these slides so you can have a look. The recommendations for improvement I asked for, again, another list with dot points and numbers this time. Thought that was pretty interesting, that formative feedback, enhancing inclusivity, that workload piece. Interesting number 5, support academic integrity, doesn't mention AI at all, okay? And it was an assignment from 2020, but still, if I'm evaluating an assignment and how good it is today, I want that on the list, right? So again, some limitations there. So now I will hand back to Liz, because now it's your turn to have a play.
Thanks, Nicole. Yep. Okay. So what we're going to do is get into breakout rooms. And there's a number of things that we will provide you with. So we'll provide you with a link in the breakout room. We'll provide you with a link to Copilot in case you haven't been using it and it's not an easy thing for you to get into. We'll also provide you with a sample assessment task. We're going to, okay, having said that, you can use your own assessment task as well. I noticed in the comments there somebody mentioned that they would like a review done of their own assessment task, which is fine, absolutely fine. So actually, if you just go to the next screen there, Nicole. Oh,
sorry,
hang on, before we launch
yep.
into that, yep. We have found in our playing and preparation for this presentation that sometimes Copilot doesn't cooperate. It has a real lag sometimes, and you might have trouble sharing a screen as well as using, everybody using Copilot. And look, if that happens, just try reducing your bandwidth a bit. So, is that the expression? Turning your cameras off, perhaps making sure only the person who's sharing their screen is using Copilot in your breakout room. Look, if it's just all too slow and you just don't want to go there, of course you can you can be human and carry out a human evaluation of the task against the principles, and also just, suggest ideas for improvements as well. So we will be providing you with the principles document, and we'll also be, just the next screen there, Nicole.
Sorry, I'm just assigning. It's not letting me manually assign, so I'm just keep talking, please.
Okay. We've been having a few glitches with the breakout rooms in Teams throughout the day, I believe. Okay, so once you get into the room, what you can, if you wouldn't mind nominating someone to be the Copilot pilot, so that's the person who will share their screen and get into Copilot for everybody to have a look at. Of course, that doesn't mean that everyone else can't use Copilot themselves and play a little bit themselves as well. But again, just be aware of the bandwidth issue. If things start slowing up, you might want to not use Copilot and just focus on what's being shared. So we need a Copilot pilot in each room, and we need a Menti writer in each room. So we're going to be gathering just a little bit of feedback by putting a few little, if you wouldn't mind, nominating one person to put some comments about what you've discovered in the Menti that we'll also provide you a link for. So choose an assessment. As I said, it can be a real one, or we will give you a sample assessment if you'd prefer to use that one as well. They're only, they're quite short. They're fictitious assessments. They're sort of been brought together, smushed together from a bunch of very old assessments. So we're not saying they're good assessments. We're not saying they're bad assessments. They're just assessment tasks for the purposes of the exercise. So then you'll need to open Copilot, add to the Copilot chat the assessment task itself, which we're going to give to you in a Word document, plus a PDF of the assessment design principles that we're going to give to you.
Sorry, Liz.
right.
I just need to call on Amita. I am not able to assign participants into the breakout rooms right now. I'm not sure what's happening. It won't let me do it.
I'll do it. Thanks.
Okay.
This will be a
Sorry.
challenge.
Yes. Sorry, everybody.
Okay. No, that's all right. Thanks, Nicole. Okay. So once you've got your documents sorted, if you sorry, I'll just backtrack a little bit. With the assessment task, if you don't want to upload the document itself, feel free to copy paste the text in. You can do it that way as well. So then you need to prompt Copilot to review the assessment task for alignment with the 11 Charles Sturt assessment design principles. And you also need to ask it to suggest improvements to the assessment. Let's see what it comes up with.
Can I open the rooms now?
Yes, please.
Because I've assigned them. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then discuss what you find in your group. Are the results accurate? Are they complete? And then capture your thoughts in the Menti. So the question in the Menti actually is, what did AI do well? What did AI do not so well? So it's just a very short summary of what you might have found.
Amita.
Yep.
Can you get me to manage the rooms, or can you broadcast a message?
Yeah, sure. What do you want me to say?
Okay, I will copy and paste it. I can't believe this isn't working. I don't know what's going on.
What's not working?
I couldn't open the breakout rooms. Can you broadcast this, Amita? I'll just put it in the group chat, or?
They're all open at the moment.
No, I did that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to broadcast a message.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you put the message?
To the room. Okay, I'll put it. Hang on. I'll just put it in our chat.
Oh, yeah. Or just the links or the whole message?
The whole message. That's the instructions. And now, how do I get into the rooms to dump the files in?
Once the broadcast is made, you'll see all of them in your Teams hub, like each of the individual rooms. So just put a small broadcast in first,
Yep.
Amita or whoever's doing the broadcast, and
so
then the
what do you
rest
want
of
me to
us will
put?
see.
Just the links only in that case? Because otherwise it's a big message.
No, we want the big message. That's
We
the
want the big
instructions.
message to go in. Yeah.
All right.
I
Doing
can
it
now.
see
And the link.
room. I've seen room 2-3's appeared on my chat.
Yep.
Okay, I've done it.
Yeah. Here we go. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
I can now pull them across. Yeah.
There are 4 in each room.
Are there any unassigned, Amita?
No, only these 2.
So where it says, like when you're looking at the breakouts, does it say unassigned, any in brackets or anything, or everyone's assigned?
No, it's only just rooms and all 4 people in each.
Okay, great. All right, I'll jump out.
Thanks.
Lachlan.
Oh yeah, sorry. So 2:23, let's say, it's 24 now. So 2:33, you want me to close it? Or are you happy to close it?
Sorry, I'm not listening. I'm just.
To make it 2:35.
Yep.
Also, Amita, can you broadcast the Menti link to all the rooms? I'm just
Yeah,
putting that
sure.
in the chat.
Sure.
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you. Nicole, I might just pop into each room and
Yep. Thank you. I'm
just
just
check.
checking older files are everywhere.
Hmm.
Tracy's posted a message in the chat. Can you flip to the next slide on the Menti, please? Are
Oh,
you?
shit. Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
So 5, 3, 1, 2, 8. Is the Menti okay now?
Nobody's posting at the moment, so it should be okay. Is Liz jumping in the breakout rooms?
Yeah, I think so. I'm still stressing. I haven't done all these. Oh, bring back Zoom, I say.
So Danielle is asking
Yeah.
for a assessment, yeah?
Room is she in?
I'll have to check because I can't tell. Number 7.
7. Should be there.
I'll post in the chat.
Don't know why it didn't work for me.
Yeah, not sure.
I don't have a, yeah, I didn't, yeah, I don't know why I didn't get to, because it came up that I could assign them, and then I tried it and it only gave me the option to do it manually.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. I had a little bit of problem in the last workshop.
I'm a bit rattled now, which is not good.
No, that's fair enough. I'll just tell them 4 minutes left, yeah.
And I've lost, yeah, I've lost my Menti. Shit. Okay, I'll just, can you store them? I've lost my Menti screen now for some reason.
Was it on your slide or you're going into your browser? It's a good activity, by the way. Do you want to check with Lachlan?
He's here. What's up?
Nicole has lost her Menti screen.
Lost it as in can't find it, the results or something, or?
Nicole, you're on mute.
I had it so I could toggle between share the windows, so I could share the PowerPoint and then the
Right.
the
Well, you might need
window
to,
on the,
if you reshare, like stop sharing, find it, then
Yep.
reshare again. Might have just buried it underneath some other things.
oh, it's gone.
Open in a browser tab somewhere, or do we need to reopen that browser tab? That looked promising. There was a browser there somewhere.
Yeah, but it's
1 minute to go, okay?
give me more time. I need just a couple of, I can't now get this back up on the, Jesus. Okay, oh, here we go.
Perfect.
Can you see that now?
Yeah,
Yep.
we can see the Menti results screen.
And then can I go back to, okay. So I'm just flicking now.
Okay, I'm telling them 1 minute, okay? It's already 34.
Most people are deep in conversation. Have you got any results for your Menti yet, Nicole? Because they said some people had already filled it in.
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
yeah, they're
probably it.
coming up now. Okay, I
Mhm.
might share that screen first then. Okay, I need to. Why is it so?
That's clear. I can see the Menti screen, not
Yeah.
the feedback, but the other one.
The actual
You want
voting
this
link
one?
with the QR. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The results.
That's the
it
one you
now.
want. Okay.
Yeah,
I
want
don't
the
know what's
results.
going on. Okay.
I usually probably just share my screen, I suppose, because I lose control of the tabs sometimes. It seems to be flicking
That's what
between
I'm
them.
doing here. And
Yeah.
choose screens, but it's probably too late to experiment with that now.
You're going great guns.
I'm just so stressed.
At least your computer didn't crash the whole keynote like mine started to do at the
Oh,
beginning.
no.
Okay, I
You
have
can.
to close. It's 2:36. Okay.
Yep.
Alrighty, thanks.
I just
I'll just give them a warning.
put the Menti link in again in case people haven't finished.
Should be coming back in now. Nothing in Q&A so far, by the way.
It's too old. Okay.
And click it.
thrown out. I'll just submit what we have. At least we put something in.
Oh, submit. I
everyone.
haven't done that. Here I am. There you go.
There is a link to the Menti in the chat in the main room if you haven't managed to get that far. You can do it now if you haven't managed it.
Yeah. Thank you for that, and apologies for the technical difficulties. I'm not sure what happened, but we're here now, back in the room, and I do apologize. I realized you're probably just getting into the meaty stuff in the breakout room, and now you get ripped out back to this, but you know, there's always a chance we might do this again at a later date and hopefully have the opportunity to delve a bit deeper. So, okay, so what did AI do well and not so well? I'm just going to have a very quick skim read. I should get AI to summarize these, shouldn't I, really? Well, checked against the principles, quick snapshot, yeah, reasonable summary, something for improvement, that align to principles and not to subject learning outcomes. Aha, so that's in itself is impossible, right? Because if you have a principle with constructive alignment, not so good. It looks like it tried to address principles, didn't relate to the subject. Yeah, suggestions were relevant, appropriate for the subject. Generic surface level. Yeah, that's what I found too. What it did well, suggestions for improvement were consistent with subject matter expert. That's good. Yep. Not well, generic response to subject alignment. So 11 principles align. Some were good. Can't understand what is being assessed. The level of understanding of a first year student. Let's see if I can scroll that down. They won't let me scroll down. Oh, yes, it will. There you go. Well, guys, you guys have been busy, right? Okay, so nice mapping, didn't itemize assessments well, UDL suggestions. Yep, could be useful. So there's lots of stuff here. So we will try and capture this and share this with you. So I think there's some really good ideas. Anyone else that I've just in, because we don't have a lot of time, I don't want to discredit any of this and not actually reading. There was anything specifically that really stood out for anyone that you'd like to add to the chat or speak up? So not really.
We found that a lot of the suggestions that came up weren't necessarily things you would find in a subject outline. It was more about teaching and how you might explain it and other things you might do around it, but it wasn't really. So it was coming up with things that might already be done, but it just didn't know whether or not they were done.
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of what we're expecting. Funny that if we go to the next question, because that's, I think, also what was mentioned in the keynote today, that human element, right? The contextual considerations. And so we've got, this is the last Menti for today. So if you can just think about that one contextual consideration that is specifically relevant perhaps for your cohort, like, you know, not, it doesn't understand what a first year student might, what support it might need, or that sort of thing. So again, if you jump back in the Menti, hopefully that'll work and you can see it there as well. So if you just want to plug that in, and hopefully is it working? Can you enter it? Have I activated it right? Thanks, Gemma. That's a very reassuring nod. Much appreciated. Not working for you, Madeline? Or maybe you're, okay. Yeah, interesting things already popping up there. The Australian context, universal design for learning, timing in the subject, where in the course and subject this assessment sits. Yeah, especially when you're doing those individual tasks. And yeah, you need to prompt further to add the context, but you need to know that that's even a thing, right? Like, so it's when you're drawing on your expertise of your students and your relationships and understanding of your students and how they learn, that you know that you even have to put that in, right, when you're prompting. The issue around timing, that's hard. It's always been difficult, hasn't it? And engagement, evidence, yep. So there's a lot of contextual considerations that are coming out that it just doesn't pick up yet. And I think in the previous Menti, it was that superficial. But, you know, for me personally, I think in my practice, it's a really great starting point to get you thinking. And like I said, I like lists. So I like to see, at least have that as a starting point, as a thought prompt to then investigate further. So thank you for sharing all those. That's really great. So I'm not going to try and, oh, there's still some more coming through. Yep. Assessment should reflect real world nursing contexts. Yep. Diversity of learners, prior knowledge and learning styles. And yeah, that's really interesting that those 2 points in relation to the Australian profession standards for teachers as well. And perhaps, yeah, we need to plug them in as well, right, when we're prompting. So great responses there. So thank you for your feedback and sharing your knowledge in that area. So we'll go back to the slides now. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, can you see the slides again now?
Yes,
Gemma? I need another nod. Excellent, fantastic. Okay, so the big contextual consideration now is also that whole notion of the whole thing with the AI context and that the need for supervised assessment requirements, which has been shared along. There's a link there as well. That supervised assessment requirement, that we now need to add that supervised assessment component, which not all assessments have or subjects have. And so basically, if you want new ideas, well, you can prompt again and you can ask for ideas and add that 30% supervised element. This is what I prompted and this is what I got. And immediately you see, well, there's 5 assessment tasks in a first year. Marketing 110 is a first year subject. We do not have 5 assessment tasks recommended. Usually it is 3 or around that, depends on your school and your requirements. But at least it's given us a bit of an idea already. So that's really great. And now I'm back to Liz to kind of provide a bit more of an overview what we've done today.
Thanks, Nicole. Yes, so we've created a model that basically captures the process that we've gone through today. So if you start on the left-hand side, you need to begin with an assessment task. As you've discovered, if you put a single assessment task in versus, say, all the assessment tasks in the subject, then the feedback you're going to get is different regarding timing and regarding scaffolding and that kind of thing, and which of course is dependent on the type of prompt that goes in as well. So you need to start with your assessment task. or tasks. You need to define the principles of assessment design. So in this case, we've been able to give you the principles of assessment design that Charles Sturt uses, put the task into AI, put the principles into AI. And as Linda pointed out today, we've been using Enterprise Copilot, and Mark Bassett recently mentioned that you can use anything, and as Nicole mentioned earlier, as long as you apply the secure framework. And I did put the link in earlier, but I can put that in again at the end if you're not familiar with the secure framework. So it's a security thing. Okay, so the prompt that you're putting in, so we are here in the aligned assessment cycle. So you're prompting for task alignment with those principles that you've been provided, with potential tasks. We're prompting it also to, while you're there, you might as well see if it's got any ideas for enhancement of the assessment task or tasks. And as Nicole mentioned, the extra element that has now been thrown into the mix is making sure we've got some kind of supervised assessment as well. We're just kicking off with that. That will be a more embedded part of the assessment regime for every subject and every course moving forward over the next couple of years. So then it kicks into an edit loop. So as you've all been doing, you're critically analysing output for quality. So that critical analysis part of it is, funnily enough, critical. So that's where you're checking, well, has it aligned with the correct principles for a start? Has it aligned with all of the principles? I found when I was playing with it earlier in the week, and which some of you also found in your breakout rooms, that it only aligned to, it looked at 6 principles. It didn't look at 11 of them, and I don't know why. And then I had to prompt it again, and I said, hang on a minute, there's 11 principles. And it got back to me and said, oh, you're right, there is 2, there's 11 principles. I'm really sorry, here you go. So that critical element is absolutely vital. You've got to not just accept what it spits out. You've really got to look at it and make sure it's referenced what you want it to reference. Kelly, did you want to mention something?
Oh, we were talking about this in our group, in our breakout room, because I said I feel like it's a lot of times with AI tools, it's like false positivity, like toxic positivity, where they're like, oh, that's really great. Like, it doesn't matter what you put in, what the prompt is. It's going to like almost give you that confirmation bias of it's telling you what it thinks you want to hear rather than really critically dissect or analyze what you're asking it to do. Which is interesting. And then somebody in the group was talking about just some prompt engineering that you can use around that to get that clarity so that you don't just get that kind of automatic reinforcement.
Yeah, so it's probably worth, not just putting one prompt in anyway and accepting what it spits out, perhaps reword it and prompt it again and see what happens. And Paul's just mentioned in the chat also that generative AI, large language models, it's just a language analysis tool. It's not an assessment analysis tool. So we also need to bear that in mind. And that, comes back to the critically analysing whatever it's spitting out is a really vital part of it. So thanks for that, Kelly. Thanks, Paul. So again, as we just mentioned, you're amending prompts if required to refine what you want. And making sure it's, for example, looking at 11 principles and not 6 principles. And as Nicole showed earlier in her example, it made up some principles that weren't exactly the ones that she put in. And it did seem to struggle with, I wonder if it's struggling really with the PDF format of the principles, if it was in a Word document. Nicole, I think you did that, didn't you? You tested it in a Word document?
Yeah, it wasn't that much better, really. I think it's just, and there's a lot in that document anyway. It's quite nuanced, and the examples and the explanation, of each principle is quite. It covers a lot basically. So I think that's the other thing. The starting point, looking back at what do we actually put in, and the quality of what we put in, and is it really the essence. So that's a whole other conversation, I think, about
Yeah.
that. But the fundamental principles are still the same, but the nuance and this changing landscape, we need to think about that.
And as Jackie's mentioned in the chat as well, you can just put in a link to a specific web page. If we're putting in the link to the web page that's got a whole bunch of different resources on it from course level down, that's probably way too much information for it. If we can put a link into, hyperlink to the web page that just contains the assessment principles, then, potentially we've got a better chance of it. Focusing just on that. And as Amita said, though, it does need a little bit of experimentation, I think. Possibly doesn't handle more than 2 levels. Amita, have you been playing with that a little bit?
Yeah, I remember when Prue did that presentation on the design of the AI agents. That's what she had meant. If you didn't have a paid version, there were limitations. And I did try
Yep.
and didn't work. So if it's a long URL, multi-steps, it won't find the information.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that. And as some of you found in the breakout room as well, with the free versions, there are character limits on what you can put in. And I think Nicole mentioned that earlier as well. So that's another, again, you need to be mindful of what you're putting in, what your prompts are, what you're trying to get out of it. And again, going back to that critical analysis part in the edit loop. So the final part, this bottom part of the edit loop is contextualizing the task for the discipline, the intention of the assessment, and the cohort that you're teaching. So all of you mentioned, various elements around that. So basically what you got with what we just did was generic, fairly high, surface level information that wasn't necessarily suited to either the discipline that you're teaching or the intention of the assessment or the cohort that you're teaching. So this is where you can really refine your prompts. And look, you can go, that edit loop can just go, on and on and on until you get a product that is going to serve its purpose for you. And then again, you're critically analysing every time. You're reviewing the final version of the task. And then once students have actually have completed the assessment task, it can be interesting to review what they created, what were their outputs and what was their feedback on the assessments. And then this is the opportunity to reflect on your own assessment practice and plan for continuous improvement. So perhaps the wording of the assessment task or tasks can be refined. And this is where the cycle bit comes into it. So you're then planning for continuous improvement. You might make further amendments. You're refining your assessment task and you're starting the cycle again. So, so that can be a handy workflow to follow. To ensure that, again, it's sort of, we're looping back to what the intention of the assessment principles were in the first place, which is, assuring quality, making sure we're meeting the required standards and the Higher Education Standards Framework and Child State Policy, and also making those connections between courses, subjects and assessments. So.
Yeah, and just on that last bit about the review and reflect, hey, that's at least quite a few sentences in Quasar when you're doing your Quasar subject review and update. So that can also be a nice way and a good way to document that and capture that, and also be able to share that for if anyone's picking up your subject at a later session as well. So yeah, plenty of stuff to put in Quasar there. So that's sort of the loop there. This is yours, I think,
so
Liz. Yep.
One of the, I mean, having said all of that, we've just thrown a lot of information at you.
Yeah.
And it's really, once you get in and have a play, it's going to make a lot more sense. You'll work out what the nuances are and what sorts of prompts and what sorts of language works. And look, whether it's helpful for you or not, you might want to go back to a hard copy checklist to review against alignment against assessment principles. It's up to you. This is just an option, okay? But recently we heard today in the panel presentation, as well as these presentations by Catherine. It was an article by Catherine Walsh, and recently was a COLT conference by Ruth Bridgestock. She did a provocation lecture. Don't forget that the principles are scholarly, human, authentic, and knowing your students. So that's the SHAC acronym, which you might find helpful. And somebody that Ruth had worked with in research had captured it very well in those 4 points at the bottom there too. Don't worry too much about AI. If it's exploding your head, don't worry too much about it. Keep connecting with other people, learn and adapt and pursue what matters. So I guess if we remember those things, we need to sort of not let it throw us too much, or what they were talking about in the panel presentation earlier was about the, Nicole, what was it about the being ease? Seductive ease, thank you.
Yeah.
It can be too easy just to fall into it. So that
Yeah.
critical
And
analysis
not even
element.
check what
Yeah,
it spat out, even
that's
though
it.
it
That
looked
critical
right, it's not
analysis
right.
part of
Yeah.
it is absolutely critical. And also, you know, pursue what matters. Keep connecting with other people. It's not all about AI. So,
Because
okay.
AI needs you, AI generated image. I had quite a few goes at this, but that's what I liked. AI does need you. And again, thanks Liz for reminding us of the panel speaker. AI needs us. It needs our human expertise, our judgments, our ethical approaches and stances and ideas and philosophies. And it needs our emotional engagement with what we are doing, and definitely our expertise, those nuances that we can understand, especially having face-to-face contact with students, real life bodies. They're not just this abstract student thing, right? So AI needs you. And so same but different. Same assessment design principles, same input and expertise from humans to form the foundation and add insights are so vitally important when we're dealing with AI in general and assessment tasks, but yeah, AI in general as well. But it's also different. We can use AI to help us. We just have to be mindful of all the things we've talked about today, that it's not the be all and end all, but it can be a great starting point, a great list generator for people like me, to get us thinking and then we use our critical analysis, our human side, our expertise, our passion, and to try and inspire our students and create those engaging tasks. And it's really great and exciting. So are there any questions or comments so far? I can't see on the chat if there's
Couple
any
of minutes
questions.
for questions or
Yes.
to carry on the conversation. If anybody wants to perhaps pick up where they left off in the breakout room. I mean, this is, gosh, we could go on forever about this, couldn't we, Nicole? We love a meaty discussion about AI and assessment.
We've had a few in the lead up to this, so
Yes.
we've learned a lot along the way as well. So
it's very easy to go off on a tangent. All the other things you could bring into it, like rubrics and what were the other things we mentioned earlier? Looking at, I mean, you could go into a whole heap of detail just on one assessment design principle, for one type of cohort, for one kind of discipline. That's a whole nother workshop in itself.
So do you have a question, Amita?
I think go to Louise first. I can wait.
Okay.
Thank you. Just very quickly, I'm just wondering, this is really helpful, thank you. And I think it will be really good when we're going forward, particularly into those integrated supervised assessments that we're all trying to generate for the 30 session. Would you imagine that this will be useful in sort of determining, I guess, that integration between the skills and knowledge that we need to sort of implement into our rubrics for that integrated assessment sort of to be, I guess, successful?
Yeah, absolutely. With the caveat that you need to be careful of the language you're using in the prompts. I mean, AI will spit out anything and make it sound like it knows what it's talking about, as we found with, you know, it making up principles and not actually covering the 11, it only covers 6. But, you know, the way it responds to you makes it sound like it's all over it, but it's clearly not. So again, whatever you're putting in, you might find that you need several iterations of the prompt language itself to get what you want out of it, and each step along the way you're going to have to employ that critical analysis step, and that's where that edit loop comes into it.
And you may also then draw very much on the language that's used in your subject learning outcomes to help with the prompting as well, so it doesn't come up with new names for skills that are not in the learning outcomes, because you really still need to go back to that constructive alignment when you're constructing your marking criteria. It can also then be used as a starting point. Again, I've had quite a bit of success generating marking rubrics, also to separate the knowledge component, like you said, and the skill. So when we're, for example, doing an interactive oral assessment, it can come up with some nice descriptors as well that you then have to tweak so they're appropriate for your discipline.
Thank you.
I'm just going to bring this meeting to a close because we've just gone 1 minute over. Thank you so much, Nicole and Liz. This was a fantastic session, and I must say I've learned a lot, and I am going to go and implement this as well. So thank you, and I can see from the comments and the discussions in the breakout rooms as well, I think people found it very useful and, you know, very practical as well. So thank you very much for an inspiring session, and thank you all the participants for your enthusiasm in trialing this in the breakout rooms. And feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. The recording will become available soon after the end of the conference. You will hear more about it. So thank you once again, and I hope you enjoyed CS EdX 2025.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Amita.
Amita, and thanks everybody for
Thank you,
coming along
everyone.
today. Just the beginning of the conversation.
That's it.
True.
Thank you.